And the problem is that the more they shout this racist, neo-Nazi
by the way,
or whatever...
the only violence today was from the pro-Palestinian...
Correct. They turned up and bashed a bloke up in Melbourne.
Such peace-loving people.
The more they carry on... Joe, can I finish? The more they carry on with, oh, you're racist or you're neo-Nazi or whatever... I mean, do they not realise, Evelyn, that it just emboldens people to say... You are opposed to me, an everyday Australian who has an issue with what mass migration is doing to this country. It's not about racism. The more you throw that word around, the more incensed people will become.
Well, look, it's not a mistake and it's not a coincidence that this is not just happening in Australia, but it's happening across the West. It was only today in the UK that they had similar protests. And so at some point in time, you have to say, maybe it's not conspiracy. Maybe people aren't making it up. Maybe people aren't racist. Maybe there's something real and legitimate as to why people are showing up and fronting at these protests. The logic of if a few bad, actors at a sort of protest or rally undermines the whole cause. If we go based off that logic, then democracy is dead. Because all somebody has to do is dress in all black and be an extremist and show up at a rally, and then it undermines the whole message. And you're right, Holly, the message today was that mass migration is killing us. It's kneecapping us, which it is. And there's nothing wrong, Joe, with people acknowledging the fact that we are taking migration levels from India, from China, from all those countries at an incredibly high rate. And they singled
out Indians specifically.
But it's true. But at what point...
The point, if I can interrupt.
But you said it wasn't about race.
No, Joe, the point in pointing out India was not to cast aspersions on Indian people.
Who are here, assimilated.
It was to make a direct comparison on previous waves of migration and how many people came, and to simply say that in this wave of migration, there are so many people who have come from one country alone. It's not to cast aspersions on those people. It's simply to demonstrate...
They were scared to show up to work.
It is simply... I showed you before an Indian at that rally in Sydney today.
Like those pro-Palestinians making Australian
I'd like to see... You want to talk about a minority of Nazis being at the rally? I'd like to see what the minority of people who weren't white at that rally
I'll bet you there were more than 30, which is... Oh, come on,
They're the actual card-carrying
Can I just explain what Joe's doing? He's got his list of talking points from ALP headquarters. He's saying this is the Labor Party line. And he's pushing it really hard.
This is their own words,
as well as he can.
This is their own words. The organiser called for violence. The person
They did not call for violence today, and there was no violence.
Just stop for a second and let the rest of the panel say something.
Say something accurate.
He was
say something
pretending
true.
that there's one organiser. There wasn't one organiser. There were a number of groups that organised this. One person might be an extremist. She did not organise the entire rally single-handed, and what she says does not represent people.
She's the official organiser.
And let me point out how he's misrepresenting.
Point out some facts, Kel.
Joe,
she is the official organiser. She is the one who lodged the paperwork.
And let me
come off
it's a fake name, but she's the only official organiser.
I'm going to read the quote from the website. It says, quote, more Indians came to Australia in 5 years than Greeks and Italians in 100 years. The concern is about numbers, not source.
You said it wasn't about race,
what it's about.
You said it wasn't about race.
Okay, but listen, why? No, hang on a second.
And again, these are people organising and pushing it. They're not just the people who rocked up. People in charge.
Hang on, listen, because of the numbers. It looked for what group came in large numbers. They were the numbers. We want to talk about numbers. We don't care about race. Indians, as it happens, because they grew up under a nation shaped by the British Raj, fit in very well, and they have excellent English, and they're wonderful
They didn't
migrants.
feel like they were fitting in very well.
No one cares about that. What we care about
that. I do.
Joe,
come on,
hang on.
Joe.
Stop talking.
Very quickly. I'm just going to give the final word very quickly to Evelyn, and then we'll move on because we could be here all night talking about this. But yes.
All I want to point out is that there is nothing wrong with having a national identity. And unfortunately, in Australia, we're having an identity crisis. Once upon a time, we knew what it meant to be an Australian. Today, there are plenty of Australians, including people who have migrated and assimilated here, who understood that. The point is, why can we not point out certain facts and certain truths without being called a racist. It is true. Everyone is allowed to have a homeland except for us, apparently. And there's nothing wrong with pointing out that we are taking in migrants at ungodly levels from countries that, unfortunately, in 2025 are finding a very hard time to assimilate to our Australian identity and our Australian culture. And it is not racist for pointing that out, because we will lose our home, we will lose our people, we will lose our culture, and that's sadly what's happening. And there's nothing wrong with saying, let's not have that.
To invite
stop it. The left are violent.
Today. There was no violence there today.
The left are more violent than anyone.
We've got to move on.
About calling for violence.
Joe, we've got to move on. There was no violence there today. I have to say that it was so easy.
Oh, and so
it was
the
so
left.
easy to find people of migrant background there that Channel 9 managed to do it.
There was a guy with an accent doing an interview.
I'll show you quickly.
We managed to find one.
These are some. How hard do you reckon it was? Some vox pops taken at the rally today.
We're not a racist country. We just want a good calibre of people in here.
Love migration, okay? I'm from a family of immigrants as well. The point is, how many you bring in the country? Where do you house them?